Good day to you and welcome, I'm Mechanization, and today I'm gonna talk about Hearthstone Standard Arena, because we had a big update, and I've been playing Hearthstone for the last 3 years, somewhat a lot. And I think that right now Arena is in a pretty good spot actually. After the standard patch it got better. Maybe not better, but less aggressive at least. What had not happened to me lately in the arena was that I would die turn 5 or 6 very often, or that often. Actually, in my latest run, which you can see, I finished 9-3 and had only one really aggressive deck against me, which killed me turn 6, and it was the last rogue as a final boss on 9-2, which I failed. However, that is good news, because for slightly control-ish players, it allows to have all the options, all the experiences, which used to be in Hearthstone more in vanilla. And why is that right now? Well, because GVG is out, and that's a big news. Because GVG had a lot of cards which were blatantly overpowered in the arena, which had random effect, which could either lose or win you the game in turn 2-3. Examples might be what's the card with that deals 4 mage card that deals 4 damage to a random minion. If it hits the correct one, you are behind. If it hits the not correct one, such as 1-1, you are actually very much afar of your opponent. Other really good example is Implosion, which is 2 up to 4 damage and get as many imps. If it was just 2 up to 4 damage for 2 mana, I would be completely okay with it, or somewhat okay with it. However, even it was for 4 and it actually gave you more minions on board, it made a huge difference. So in the end it was able to, let's say, kill something with 4 mana, even if you had a low roll, if you were lucky enough. But if you were really lucky, you killed a 4-drop and you had an option to more or less kill a 5-drop, let's say, with those 4 imps. And that was really strong. I think that the best examples are our Shaman cards, because Shaman cards with Overload were pretty much insanely powerful at that point, if you got high roll. So you got Crackle, which was 3 to 6 mana, deal for 2 mana, or 3 to 6 damage for 2 mana. Okay. You can actually kill a 6-drop with it, 7-drop too. So that doesn't sound right. The other thing was the Elemental, which had 4 mana, 6 health. It was a 3-6. However, you got 1 up to 4 attack randomly, and well, it ended up being a 7-6 for 4 mana with 1 overload sometimes, which is in the end like just slightly better. I think that's slightly better than the 7-7. However, the 7-7 is always the same, so that's the upper hand in that one. Also, mech is out, which means that all these annoying mech cards, such as, for me, one of the most annoying was definitely Micro Machine, which if you didn't have removal, you just more or less died to it, or it got a lot of value, because it grew to obscene attacks. And well, that is gone. So right now we have a slightly less aggressive arena due to all this. It is harder to get these really randomly based cards, and it is harder to get a lot of aggressive cards. And once we continue towards another standard set, which will be coming up in approximately a month right now, we will get rid of a lot of Inspire cards. We will get rid of even snowballing cards such as Quality Raider will be out. There will be a lot of Divine Shield guys out, which I am right now playing, or I was playing in this arena, and they are quite powerful once you can buff them a bit. However, there is also another thing that's going on right now, and that is that it is maybe a bit more, let's say, stable than it used to be. Stable is the correct word, maybe, or even. Mostly because there was always this king of arena, which was mage or rogue. One of those two used to be always king of arena. Sometimes people would say that paladin, but paladin was always slightly behind the mage, I always thought. Right now, it is very even. It is hard to pinpoint which class is actually the strongest. Because, for example, priest, which is generally considered strong right now, it really depends on, let's say, 3 cards. Or dragon synergy. So if you are unlucky enough to get no dragons in your draft, you are half a priest. If you don't have Potion of Madness is that one, which can actually steal 2 drops and even sometimes bigger minions, that's bad for you. If you don't have Talon, Cabal Talon Priest, which has Battlecry give 3 health, which is a direct power-up over currently non-standard card Dark Cultist, which had this death rattle. However, you can partially work around the death rattle. It is very difficult to play around Battlecry. And other example, I think that right now the short straw fell on first Hunter and second Warrior. Because Warrior got rid of Death's Bite, Warrior got rid of the aggressiveness in the deck, which was sometimes the max. And Warrior does not have this boost from spells, because right now we have a spell boost. There is, I think, 50% higher chance to get a spell than there used to be. And Warrior spells kinda suck. Hunter spells are okay, sometimes even really good. But both of these classes partially rely on weapons. Partially. Hunter is more into spells also, but Warrior is heavily depending on weapons. And weapons do not have this buff, I believe. So what we got right now is that Warrior has right now returned to the stage where it is really Fire Wind X dependent. And not even Fire Wind X dependent because of Paladin. Because Paladin can buff things out of Fire War X range. And I personally believe that, for example, Paladin is right now on the top, because with the spell boost you get slightly more buffs. So you get more Blessing of Kings, you get more Smuggler's Runs, which are amazing cards. You get more Equalities, Consecrations, pretty good in the end. Also, you get more Legendaries. So Tyrion Fordring, I do not remember playing against Tyrion Fordring in the last, let's say, 3 months before the release. And since the release I've played 13 arenas, and in those 13 arenas I actually faced 2 Tyrions, and I had Tyrion in my own deck. Which is quite surprising, considering that it's probably like 3 times more Tyrions than I saw in the last half a year, most likely. So, what's another one? Mage. Mage got a buff. Mage, Warlock, and partially I believe that Rogue. Rogue got quite a buff, I believe. Mage got a lot more removals. So even though like getting Flame Strike, having a Flame Strike, chance of having a Flame Strike is lowered, chance of having any removal is higher, because the majority of mage spells are removals. So what very often happens is that you have this turn 3 Volcanic Potion into turn 6 Blizzard, into turn 7 Flame Strike if need be, and you have these... well, what's the word for it? God damn it, I can't recall. It just follows each other. And very similar thing goes with direct removal. So there is less particularly fireballs. Usually there is 1 in the deck, but there is also more polymorphs. There is more Firelance portals. So if you ever had a deck which had only like one fireball, that was the only removal. No, that's not gonna happen anymore. And it's nice thing for mage because the arena slowed down a lot right now. I think that what I'm playing right now is more or less an aggro deck, and it kills you turn 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere around that. So it is flamestrikeable, it is blizzardable, and you can use those removals pretty well, because even because you have 7-8 mana cost minions still, and they are still played, not unlike the previous arena where Polymorph was kind of a dead card because everyone had only like 1 or 2 big drops and the rest was aggro to mid-range. What's there next? Oh yes, Rogue got it has more buffs once again, but weapon buffs, more aggressive style. So there used to be this archetype of a slightly control-ish or tempo, let's say tempo rogue, and it's back. It's back because of all the spells. The other one was Warlock. Warlock got a buff once again because of spells, because Warlock has a lot of removal. And the amount of epic cards that you get in your deck is a lot higher than it used to be. So for example, I played one deck when I had, I believe, 9 epics. I had more epics than I had commons, because I also had 9 or 10 rares and 2 legendaries. So I actually had like 8 commons. And common/basic cards, of course. That seemed insane, and out of these there was Doom, there was Twisting Nether, and that is right now more common. So playing against Warlock is somewhat problematic, because you can never really flood the board anymore, because these removals are not premium no longer. They are like Flamestrike used to be. Flamestrike used to be basic cards, so you had more of them. Like, yeah, sometimes people had 4 or 5 of them. That was really, really overkill. But usually a mage deck had 1, and you knew that you have to play around it a bit. Right now we're getting to a stage where Warlocks, because of boost of epic cards and boost of remove spells, you have to play around with another more or less. Because it's like if it were common, which is weird. Also, because of standard was out, standard is in, and right now you can see slight buff in terms of Jade, Shaman and Druids. Not real Jade Rogues, but Jade, Shaman and Druids. So in the upcoming month, or in April, there will be a lot more Jade Druids and Shamans in the arena, which will, I believe, heavily influence it, very heavily, because we will get closer to the standard style of players. Also, it will heavily divide good and bad Shaman decks, because the good ones will have a lot of Jades and the bad ones will have none. It will happen the same way to Paladin, because Paladin will have a huge amount of buffs available, or higher amount of buffs available. So we might get, like, really depending of, at least we don't know the cards that are coming up in yet, so based on the data now and the cards now, there will be a huge difference between players who will have buffing hands and who will not. Because there is a big difference if you play a 5 mana 8/8, which actually buffs everything in your hand, and if you play a 4/4. There is a big difference between those two. And it's always annoying to lose to this. So for example, it happened to me in one arena. In the first one I played, I had 2 smuggler runs and 2 guys who two guys who buff your hand. So what happened was that I got them in the opening hand, I went second, so I had another card, and I just went Smuggler's Run first. Turn 2 I actually got the 2/2 guy out, which buffed my previous guy to a 3/3. Then I actually used coin into Smuggler's Run into the guy, it buffed the 2 remaining minions in my hand, and I ended up with a 4/4 turn 3, and I continued like this. That was insane. So this will happen more often, and I hope that it won't. I hope that the new set will be more dominant, more balanced than the previous ones, because just face it, warrior without aggressive pirate decks, warrior would be dead. Rogue would be dead, at least in ranked mode. In the arena, rogue is still pretty good, but warrior is more or less dead. Hunter is more or less dead, and hunter will definitely get a buff. We know that because of a lot of beasts. However, the question is, how will these new decks deal with jades? Because there will be more jade shamans and jade druids, and with paladin buffs, because there will be those. Will mage once again get some insanely overpowered removals such as Firelands Portal? At least it's insanely overpowered in the arena. I'm not saying that it's insanely overpowered in normal ranked mode. You can partially deal with it, but in the arena it's really strong. If you have 2 or 3 of those, you just remove a card and get a card. That's the cost is not good enough. Even though you get a random 5-drop, you still get a 5-drop. So an example, it's more or less a fireball with a 5-drop, which should cost 9, but it costs only 7. And I believe the Firelands Portal should actually cost 9. That would make people decide whether Firelands Portal is better than anything else. Because right now, if you see Firelands Portal and a Fireball, you get a Firelands Portal every single time, more or less every single time. Well, if you agree or disagree with me, feel free to comment below. I'll be glad to see some of your experiences, and well, let's hope that the next arena will once again get better, because this was an improvement, and once we get to new standard, it might once again be an improvement. Let's hope for it. So, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to like it down below, it gets me high in traffic. If you didn't, thumbs down. And well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.